welcome to Life with Lisenbees. I'm Sammy.
And I'm Hunter. Today we're going to be talking about why we got married young and the journey through it.
All right, stick with us and hear all about our story.
If you've listened to us before, if you're a new listener, then we're going to give you a quick little background of me and Sam. We met in middle school and we were really good friends, basically best friends. And then in high school, Sam decided that I was cute enough for her. So we decided we were going to start dating. And we were pretty serious. Everyone, I think, thought we'd get married right after high school. And we thought we were going to get married as well. So we just didn't know when. We saw her sister get married early. We saw her brother get married early.
Both of my siblings got married at 18
like
years
right
old.
after high school. And we saw both of them. We said, oh, we're not going to get married until like 24 after college and go through all that.
Late 20s.
So the background behind that is because I was playing baseball. So I knew when I went to go play college ball, there was no way we're going to be married and be able to me play college ball and you go to college or whatever. And Sam was actually, I was a grade behind Sam. So she was just going to stick around and wait a year after she graduated until I decided which school I was going to go to for baseball. I would say I was pretty good at baseball. I wasn't bad.
Whoa there. You were pretty good at baseball.
Yeah.
You can toot your own horn. You're pretty good.
I was pretty good. I was getting recruited. Sophomore year is when I got bumped up to varsity. That's when everything got a little bit more serious. As we got into the season, I realized I didn't really like baseball. I was going through once I hit high school, I didn't know how much I liked baseball. I played it my whole life for 15 years.
Do you feel like when you get your kids into a sport at a young age that they can it can become like a routine or a job and then they can fall out of love with it? Like, why do you feel like you fell out of love with baseball when you thought it was going to be like a career for you?
I think I thought it was a career for me because I had just played it for so long, and everyone that played long, that was your next thing was college and then hope to get drafted and go to the majors, right? But I think I just never thought baseball was fun or cool.
At what point did that change?
Like, I thought I was cool that I played, but I wasn't. I didn't never really had that fun. I literally like 10 years old. Probably like 10 years old.
When did you stop enjoying it though, and it became like a job for you?
Probably like 10 years, 11 years old. Ever since, like, literally when I was 10, I asked my parents. I said, "Can I not play this season?" I took a season off of baseball when I was like 10, and I went and played football that year. I think that's all I played that year.
But you came back to baseball because you were just so good at it, and you were like, "I guess I can."
Well, no, I took a break, and I was like, after like when I was like 10, I was like, "All right, I think I can." I think I like it enough. I missed it. And I was like, I still miss it to this day, but I miss the athletic part of it. I don't miss the practices, the baseball games. And I knew I really didn't like baseball. Most people, when they go to practice, they get bored during practice, right? Nobody likes practice. Most people like the games. I didn't like the games. I hated the games. And when I realized I didn't like playing in a game, that's when I was like, all right, I don't like this sport. Yeah, I'm like, all right, we got to figure this out.
But looking back, do you wish that you would have switched to something else? Would that have changed the trajectory of like our future? Or, I mean, at the end of the day, God's plan is God's plan. God's plan will prevail, and that's what happened in our situation. Yeah. But I guess like looking back, when you think about what we're going to do with raising our kids, like how are we going to navigate raising our kids and really making sure that sports or music or whatever they do doesn't become like a job for them.
Just from my parents' point of view, they never pushed me to play. They were just like, that's why that season they were like, if you don't want to play, you don't have to play. I think they still kind of pushed it a little bit because they knew I was very talented and they still wanted me to play. But I think how they presented it, even in high school, when I ended up not playing my senior year, they kind of were like, hey, that's all right. My mom, of course, was like, I want you to play because I want to watch you play, but they were okay with it. They were like, listen,
I'm not going to lie. Once I started dating you and you were playing baseball and you were so good at it, I was like, I'm about to be married to like a professional baseball player. I'm not going to have to work a day of my life.
Yeah, I don't know about that. A couple minors, 10 years in the minors. And then
but like, I really did see a future for us when you were in high school of like us going through college, you playing ball, us not being married yet. And really, we weren't going to get married, or even at that point, we were in high school. We were like, yeah, we're not going to get married until after baseball and after medical school. Because at that point, I was wanting to pursue medicine, and I was going to be in school for 8 to 10 years. Yeah. And so we had talked about waiting until after college, having more money, being more settled. You wait till the perfect time. You have all these scenarios in your head of I want to have this wedding. I want to be at this point in my career. I want to be at this point in my life. And then I can get married. And that's kind of what we did. We made all these plans of our expectations of what we wanted before we got married. And God kind of came in and was like, no, this is the plan that I have for you. And you're wanting to just follow your plan because it checks all your boxes. But this is actually the route that I want you guys to go.
It's pretty crazy how it all kind of happened, right? I don't even know if you really know how it really happened. So going into sophomore year, all of that wrapped around, right? I didn't really know going into sophomore year if I really wanted to play anymore. I had a really good freshman year. So I got moved up sophomore year, and I started talking and getting scouted. And so I was talking to recruits and everything. It's only 2 or 3. It wasn't crazy because it was sophomore year. And USF actually came. They were coming to look at another pitcher on our team, and my coach was like, hey, I got a couple other guys I want you to look at. So he had me go out there. Coach loved me, and he was like, hey, I want to stay in contact. Let's watch you throughout the season. And yeah, we're excited to see you and everything. So I ended up having a kind of a slumpy sophomore year, which made my love for baseball even worse. My confidence was so low. But then this is the first time I told any of my buddies, coach, or anyone. I told my buddies that I was like, yo, I don't know if I want to play baseball after this season. I was like, I don't like it, blah, blah. And they were basically like, you're crazy. You're so talented. What are you doing? You're crazy. And I was like, listen, if I hit a home run this year, I hadn't hit a home run yet in sophomore year. So I was like, if I hit a home run this year, I'll stay. This is how low my confidence was. I was like, oh, I'm not going to hit a home run, so it doesn't matter.
And then you did.
And literally 2 games later, I hit a home run. And so I'm like, and confidence is back up a little bit.
To toot your horn for a second, you were the first person ever to hit a home run at Oakleaf High School.
Yeah, so our high school, it's kind of newer. It was probably about 6 years old, but it's a weird way the wind blows. No, for sure. It's not a super big field. It's pretty big, but it's big. It's bigger than most high school fields, I'd say. But the way the wind blows, it never seems to go the way the righty wants it, or the lefty. It just always blows in. So I think I just caught it on the right day. And
I was there that day.
But no, it was a great day, whatever.
I remember that.
And so I was like, okay.
That's a sign.
Confidence is up. I'm like, maybe that's a sign. Maybe I need to keep playing. It was basically the very next game, I'm pretty sure. Very next game, it was a scheduled game that we actually had delayed because of a storm 2 weeks prior, and we play, and 4th inning, 5th inning, something like that, tear my ACL. Tried to make a Derek Jeter backhand throw, stepped, snapped.
It was the craziest thing. I was sitting in the stands with my little girlfriend Team Lisenba shirt on, and I just hear the loudest pop come from Hunter's knee, and everybody in the stands is like, oh, that's not good. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I'd never seen an injury like that before. Hunter falls to the ground, and then coaches are running out, and then me and his mom, we were there. And then we obviously realized at that point that he definitely tore something. Physical therapist came out, checked him, and was like, you need to go to the emergency room. So that moment was the key turning point in our relationship, in Hunter's life. And it honestly was a blessing in disguise.
It was so disappointing, too, because I was starting to really get my groove.
In the moment, you probably felt so defeated and so discouraged.
100%. I mean,
but now you can look back. How long ago was that? Was that almost 10 years ago?
It was. I mean,
we're
17.
Almost.
No, I was 16. I was 16 when it happened.
That was 8 or 9 years ago.
I'm 24, so it was 8 years ago.
So looking back, was it a blessing in disguise that you tore?
100%. ACL? In the moment, I was so angry because I was just like, I finally am starting to get my groove on varsity. Basically, it's a little step up. Not crazy because you play travel ball and that's harder than varsity or anything like that, but my confidence was starting to come back. So I was excited and getting out of that slump at sophomore year or whatever. And then when I tear that ACL, I'm just like, you're kidding. Like, so then I'm like, all right, time for recovery. Like that's what it came down to. I was like, all right, how quick can I recover and get through this and get on to the next season?
But that's when the journey started for you realizing that, you know, maybe a future in baseball isn't for you, because that's when our relationship got so much deeper. I was there for Hunter throughout his entire surgery, recovery. I mean, he threw up on my shoes right when he got out of surgery, and we're loading him up.
Yeah,
into
I mean, does it get any
room.
better than that for your future
I'm like
wife?
helping him get out of the car, and he like throws up all over my shoes, and I'm like, okay, let's get you up in the bed. He couldn't walk for weeks, so he had to pee in a cup and or pee in a water bottle in his room, and then I would go dump the water bottle for him and then bring the pee water bottle back to his room.
Yeah, it was pretty
so
crazy.
This was an extent of our relationship at 16 years old, caring for him. And then he had physical therapy. I drove him to a lot of his physical therapy appointments, and our relationship really grew so much stronger through that. And then after you had kind of like gotten through recovery, you were like, okay, I'm going to go back and try to do this again. But it was never the same.
Well, yeah, my knee was never the same, but I don't think I think I got cleared way too. I was cleared after like 5.5 months, which is
way too soon.
Ridiculous for an ACL.
Even to this day, you still have issues with it, and you should have gone through physical therapy way longer.
So I went through physical therapy and only did it for about 3 months, and then I was like, I can do this on my own. So I went and did it on my own, and I did work with our athletic trainer at our school, and he helped me a little bit, so I didn't have to go in the office. It just took too long. I'd be there for 2 hours, and I was like, I can do this in an hour. Yeah. Anyways, I did work with the athletic trainer and everything, and then I go back to my doctor that did my surgery. He clears me in 5.5 months, which is... This is 9 years ago. That's insane for an ACL.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, time for the grind. So I cleared it just in time for fall ball. So I was able to play a little bit of fall ball, you know, in and out because of my knee. My coach didn't want me going crazy. And then that's when we go into spring season, and I realized I am not nearly as quick, as fast. I can't do anything as good as what I did before, even as much as rehab I've done to my knee. And I don't know if that's because I cleared myself too quick. I don't know if it's because I had a friggin' 5-pound brace on. I don't know what it was, but I did not feel like myself. And I was like, I am not about to play another season and feel like this. And then that's when I was like, I don't think college ball is in the question for me. But Sam was like, hey, I want to go to USF for education.
Yeah. And then at that point, because I'm a grade ahead of Hunter, while he's going through this whole journey of figuring out baseball career, I am dual enrollment, so I'm taking college classes. I'm working at Chick-fil-A multiple days a week, saving up money, and I decide that I really think I want to go to USF, get out of Jacksonville, go to Tampa, and I start talking to Hunter about it. And now at this point, while Hunter's passion and really God like stripped that desire from him through the ACL tearing, that it wasn't for him anymore, Hunter is then like, you know what? I am going to graduate early, and I'm going to graduate with you, and I'm going to go to USF with you. And then at that point, Hunter's entire mindset, and I think your work ethic changed from it being all about now sports and baseball to now education, and like, okay, I got to get 2 grades done in 1 year or less, really, so that I can graduate with Sam. And on top of that, I have to make sure I even get accepted into USF. So Hunter really like is the reason I truthfully believe that our marriage we were successfully able to get married young. Yeah. Because without Hunter taking that step and that initiative to graduate early, I would have gone off to college for a year by myself.
Or you would have stayed back.
Yeah. And who knows what could have happened in that time frame while Hunter was still in high school and I was off at college. That would have looked entirely different for us. That would have been me following my own plan and you following your own plan. But it was like God was saying, hey, you tore your ACL. This happened. It is what it is. But it's a blessing in disguise because now I am able to give you and Sam the opportunity to actually start your lives in the right way that I've intended. and you guys can, move forward together. So then,
then Sam actually applied for USF that summer, and we had toured after I tore my ACL, and she was looking into it. Kind of in the meantime, I was getting scouted at the time, and then also was just looking at it for education, because she's like, hey, if you're going to end up going here for baseball, why don't I just go there for education, So Sam had applied in the summer, and then I was smart in high school, but Sam was pretty smart. Sam's I don't study. I just kind of show up and take the test and hope I pass.
I have to study to actually pass tests. I can't just show up and
Anyways, my GPA was, I think it was like a 3.6 or 3.7. So I wasn't like dumb. I was pretty smart. I just didn't really try that much. And then going into that last year, I had to graduate early. So I had to take 12 classes for junior and senior year. I took it all in 1 year, and I was able to raise it up to a 3.8 so that I could go to USF.
Yes.
So I had applied when Sam had applied, and I didn't get in.
Nope.
So I don't know if it's because I didn't have extra stuff or whatever it was, but I was like, dang, a 3.8 is not good enough to get in. And so then they have this like extended, I guess, application that you can do so that you can get in and do the summer.
You can apply for the summer term instead of starting in the fall.
So you start summer, basically you see if you succeed. I don't even know what it is, because you're enrolled. But so I applied for the summer, and then we had found out, I think in like January, that I had been accepted to USF and that we were going to go there. But either way, during our plan of deciding if she was going to go to USF, she had found out she was going to USF in like September, October. I don't know when the times you get accepted, but you had found out early. And no matter what, our plan was, I'm graduating early, and whether I still hadn't decided if I was going to play baseball that year. I was still deciding I'm not playing an extra year of baseball. This will be my last year. I'm not going to play college ball. Let me just finish out baseball and just finish out as, but Sam had got accepted, and no matter what, we were going to find a way for us to go to Tampa. That was going to be and I was like, well, there's UT. There's Hillsborough Community College.
For UT.
I was like, our
budget is more Hillsborough Community 100%. College.
We had found every other option other than USF, but no matter what the option was, we're both going to Tampa. Mm-hmm. I'm graduating early. We're going to figure this out. And we did.
And I think that is why when we decided that we were going to get married young, we had, it ended up being successful because we weren't just like, oh, we want to get married young and then like, we'll just figure it out. There was a part of us that, we were naive and stupid and made a lot of mistakes, but like we did have like a trajectory of like, okay, we know what location we're going to be in, and we know that I'm going to be in school, you're going to be in school, and then we're going to have to find jobs, and then we're going to figure it out. So it's like you really took the initiative to graduate early so that we could go do that.
And I was working at NYC Pizzeria while taking these 12 classes to save up to get this chick a ring. So,
Yep. Still
doing what I can. That junior year, that was a tough. I was also still rehabbing with my ACL. Like that was a tough.
Hunter and I grew up so quick once we started dating.
Yeah, 100%.
We all the time feel like we're already 35, 40 years old.
Yeah.
Because we just feel like we're old souls because we've already been married now 6.5 years.
Going on 7.
We're about to have our second baby. I'm 25. He's about to be 25. And we just feel like we've just learned so much and already made so many stupid mistakes up to this point in our life.
I love that we've made these mistakes. You get them done early so that you can
so you can learn and grow later. And then
a lot of people can make the mistakes later, right? They make them in like 30s, they make them in 40s, and then you have a whole family and you can't recover. It's a lot harder to recover, at least.
Yeah.
Whereas when you make the mistakes early, you can recover. You can always recover. But no, I think it's crazy that I think if I never tore my ACL, I think I would have finished the sophomore year, played well, never would have graduated early. I think I would have played junior year, senior year, went on and played college ball, hoping for other things. Because I think my confidence was low. That's why I didn't really want to play anymore. I think that definitely at least added on to it. But
it just goes to show that God never wastes a hurt. When anything happens in your life that is a setback or could be seen as disappointing, whether it's an injury, a financial crisis, a death in the family, anything that is disappointing or painful, if you can lean into God in those moments and know that he's not going to waste that hurt that you're going to go through. He's going to use that for his glory, but it's like, it's your choice, you know? Yeah. And like me and Hunter saw what he went through and what he lived and experienced as an opportunity for us to actually get on God's plan for us. It literally helped us get on God's plan for our life. Yeah. And following that, then we get accepted into USF, and now Hunter plans the proposal. So we're in high school. It's senior year now for the both of us, because Hunter's, you know, finishing his classes. He's going to be able to graduate.
And we've told this before if you haven't listened before.
In our Young Marriage podcast episode.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit.
But Hunter and I went to sit down with my parents in February of 2016 before we graduated high school, and had a conversation with them and said, hey, you know, a lot has happened, and we think that we want to get married right out of high school.
We wanted to get eloped first.
We wanted to elope, and we brought that idea up to them. And that did not go very well because my parents are pastors. So they were like...
They just didn't want to hide that we were married.
They didn't want to lie to people that we were going to secretly get married, not say anything, and then have a wedding in a few years. We just didn't know if being 18 years old, we could afford to do this, you know, bigger wedding, whatever. But anyways, we talked to my parents, and they were honestly fully supportive of us getting married at 18. Yep. My parents prayed and sought my entire life for who my spouse was going to be.
They were also like, didn't you guys say you wanted to get married after college? Her dad, of course, is like, I now have to marry like 3 people in the matter of like 4 years, 5 years.
Our family was like the joke in our community that like, oh, the next Smitherman kid is going to get married at 18, because all my siblings got married at 18. But Hunter ended up proposing at our high school graduation party.
I mean, it was the perfect time. Home. All right. Everyone was there. And the weird thing is too, we did our graduation party before we actually graduated, because everyone did the graduation party after graduation, and we wanted a lot of people to be there. Sam didn't know I was proposing here. She thought I was doing it at some family beach thing, I guess.
Yeah, I had no idea.
She had no idea I was doing it here, but it was like a perfect spot. So I was like, everyone's going to be there. Friends will be there. Family will be there. And I think it turned out great. I mean,
it did. It was so sweet and intentional. Definitely put in the comments below if you want to see that proposal video, because I will share it.
Listen, give me a break. That was 7-8 years ago.
You guys, it was so intentional and loving. It was,
and it looked good in 2016.
I sat in the middle of the living room and I watched this video of Hunter like just sharing his love for me, and it was so sweet. We had like 60 people in the room watching it, and it was so amazing. Now we look back at that video and our wedding video, and we're like, it's basically like so The Office.
It's like a joke. It is like a sarcastic joke.
The wedding videographers today compared to 2016, like absolutely night and day difference. We will definitely have a vow renewal at our 10-year, and we will get a way better video made. But
we'll see.
Anyways, to wrap that all up, we got engaged, and that was right at our high school graduation party the day before we graduate high school. So literally we show up to high school graduation the next day. I've got a ring on my finger. I'm like, oh, look at my ring. Everyone's cheering, so happy for us. And we decided that we were going to get married that December. And basically we had 7 months to plan a wedding.
Get ready
Hunter was going to start summer school at USF. I was going to start in the fall. And we both had to figure out how we were going to make money, and where we were going to live and all of that. But all we knew is that whatever the next step or the next season looked like for us, we wanted to do it together. Yeah. And we knew that we would figure it out no matter how much money we made, no matter what our school or our work situations were. We're a team, and we're going to figure it out together. And honestly, that's what we did. And that is the biggest, I think, piece of advice that like we have learned from getting married young is that you're a team regardless of what age you get married. And if you can always see your spouse as like your equal, as like they're on the same team as you guys are not like having to fight. You're not on opposite sides. You're on the same side. Then you can truly overcome anything. And it made me and Hunter so much stronger getting married at 18, because all of the just statistics show that the divorce rate is already over 50% regardless of when you get married. But when you get married under the age of 25, it's like way higher. So like our chances of success were like 25 to 30%. But I'm so grateful that society doesn't get to determine our chance of success. God gets to determine that as long as we follow his plan for us. And that's what we did.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even talk about the other blessing we got. My mom, like a year before we were talking about going to USF, they were asking her if she can go to like Miami or Lakeland because that's where her work was moving, because Jacksonville was just an older area, and they're asking if she can move to those areas. And she never even thought about it. It's where she grew up, was Jacksonville. It's where she had lived her whole life. So she'd never thought about it. And then when we had brought up we might be going to USF, she was like, okay, maybe I'll consider it. And then when I had got in and we were deciding we were going to get married early, she was able to move to Lakeland, and we were actually able to live with her for 6 months before we got married, because this worked out perfectly. We didn't want to go live in a dorm and live that traditional college life, because I think that would have made our marriage to start off so hard, especially our engagement period, because you're just opening yourself up to so many temptations and so many different things, especially when you haven't truly grown. Because when you get married, you grow so much more than when you're dating, or if you're
and you're not single
engaged,
anymore. You're not single anymore. So it's like if you get married while you're in college, but you're living a college lifestyle, like going out and partying and drinking and hanging around all these single people, you're literally setting yourself up to cheat on your spouse.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up to fall into temptation because you're in like that kind of environment. Or if your spouse is doing it with you and you guys are doing those things together, you're just not building a strong foundation. And Hunter and I talk about this in our young marriage podcast, but even though his mom welcomed us in to live with her, looking back, we regret that decision.
Yeah.
It
worked out. What we regret is sleeping together before we got married. It wasn't regretting being with her. It was regretting, hey, why didn't I get my own room? It was regretting
our poor moral choices as being Christians and not being obedient. It was like God had just blessed us so much, and basically we then were like, well, we're just going to justify our sex life before marriage. We're going to justify this sin. And so that was a huge mistake that we made, is having sex before marriage and living together before marriage, because that is a covenant that you're supposed to say for marriage. And us being believers, we broke that, and it did hurt our relationship, and it did bring a lot of guilt and shame and pain into our relationship that honestly could have broken us. It could have ruined our relationship, but we took that sin and what we'd been through, and God forgave us. And now we have a testimony to encourage other young couples to not make the same mistake that we did, So anyways, we lived with Hunter's mom while we were planning the wedding. And then we got married in Gainesville near UF in this beautiful garden. And it was awesome. And we had our, 150 closest of our family and friends there.
So anyways, what we're getting at is there is blessings in disguise no matter what you're going through. Me and Sam did not expect to get married sophomore year at 18 years old, be engaged at 17. That was not in our expectations. But when I tore my ACL and I thought the world was ending, I was actually getting the best thing that could ever happen to me. So,
me, a wife.
I don't know about that, but no, for sure. I think it's just crazy how
it's a choice to look at what you've been through in life as like an uncontrollable thing happening to you. Like when it happens, you can either see it as like, oh my gosh, this happened to me. Like I'm so defeated. Like there's no way to overcome this. Or you can see those uncontrollable things as literally what they are, uncontrollable. There's nothing that you can do about tearing your ACL. The only thing you can control is like your attitude and how you move forward. So the biggest life lesson we learned from all of this is like when uncontrollable things happen, you can't control that actual thing, but you can control the steps that you then choose to take moving forward. And the step that we chose to take was seeing it as a blessing to now us being able to get married young and start our lives together. Because the truth is, if that ACL tear didn't happen, we would have not gotten married probably until this season in our lives when we were graduated and then starting in our careers. So that's just an encouragement for you to see these uncontrollable things in your life as a blessing in disguise, and that like God is not going to waste it.
That was a dark time for me when I tore my ACL. I had no idea what was in store for me. And it took 5.5 months to, 9 months, whatever it was, to realize, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is why that happened. And of course I didn't see it as much then, but I see it now. I mean, I see it clear as day. I saw it 2 years after as well. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So we got married young, and that's not the popular thing to do. And statistics prove it's not the wisest decision to make. So Hunter, what is your advice for a couple listening to this right now that maybe is in high school or they're in college and they're looking at their life situations and scenarios and they're going, we love each other. We know that like we want to be a team and we want to live the rest of our lives together, but like, are we ready to get married young? Should we get married at 18? Like if there's a 16-year-old couple listening to this right now.
This is a tough one.
How do you know?
And I don't want to get hate for this, but I'm actually very against people getting married young because I do truly think a lot of people get married young for the wrong reason.
100%. Statistics prove it.
I feel like a good indicator, right, is are you wanting to live that college life right now? Like, are you in high school right now and you are not willing to sacrifice your college lifestyle so that you can also
or even just the young life if you don't go to college, but like, what people say, like, embrace your young years. You want to have that party life, that scene.
If that's something I feel like you still want now, I don't think it's the time to get married young. Go do that. That's fine. We're not saying there's anything against that. But what we're saying is I don't think it's possible to do both, to be married and live that young life, college life.
And actually grow and evolve in your marriage. Because it's going to be extremely hard for you to be the man of your household, the head of your household. Just speaking to the men here. Like when you step into a marriage covenant, you as the man become the head of the household. You are supposed to guide and lead your wife. And if your desire is to like hang out with the boys every weekend and go drinking and like go to clubs and go partying, and your wife maybe also wants to do that or maybe doesn't want to do that, like you're probably not in the season of life that you should then be taking that step to get married. Like,
you got to remember, it's not just you guys are getting married. It's you have to pay the bills. You should be getting your own place. And even college campuses offer like family housing and stuff like that. So you have to be looking into stuff like that. I don't think if you're married, you should be living in separate dorms. That's
not smart.
Definitely not the way to go. I don't think that when you get married or if you were to get married, I think I just lost my train of thought here, but it's coming. Hold on. It's coming. They're circling.
You got it.
Basically what I'm trying to say is if you're young right now and you aren't thinking of ways to help your woman more than anything and to provide for her, I don't think you're ready. If you're just thinking about what's my life about, what am I going to do? What is my purpose? What is this? Because you're going to have those questions. I've had them my whole life, but that didn't outweigh how can I provide for her? How can I sustain life with her? How can I grow with her? How can we live life together? It was always about us. I did have my background where I have my faults and I'm like, hey, what's my purpose? That's fine to have your own self-identity, but when you're young and you're man and you're getting married, you have to understand that you are going to be providing for
and that's what the Bible says. The Bible says you leave your father and mother, so you leave your family you were born into, and you become one with your wife.
Yeah.
And it is your responsibility as the husband to lead your wife and lead your household. You can lead your wife astray by living a life of sin, and then she could fall astray to that. Like, there is so much responsibility.
It's like good luck with your marriage and an early marriage when that happens, right?
Yeah, and that's unfortunately why the statistics of divorce is so high for young couples, because they want to go out and they want to live this fun young adult life. And again, we're not saying there's anything wrong with that. You can do that, and you actually can still do that while you're married wisely and sober.
Listen, let's not get too deep into this so we can save it for our part 2.
Yeah.
But I'm excited because we have a lot to talk about in that episode, and
so
we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, let's go to the next episode. So what is our next episode going to be about?
So I guess the real question is, Sam, do you think we made a mistake getting married early?
I don't know, but let's talk about it with the people.
All right, let's talk about it. See you guys next episode.
And if you're new here, we release a new episode every week, every Monday. So make sure that you are following us and subscribed on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and now YouTube. This is our first YouTube podcast because we have our whole setup here. And make sure you're subscribed and following along because we drop new episodes every Monday.
And let us know if you like this. If you like this episode, if you like what we talked about. We did a little bit different this time. We just talked about us. We had questions for each other. I want to have more questions for Sam for the next episode. But let us know if you like this. Let us know on our Instagram. It's at Life with the Lisenbes.
And we'll drop it in the show notes and the description below so you can follow us on Instagram and connect with us via email if you have feedback or a podcast suggestion for us as well.
Yeah. And if you can't somehow reach out to us on Instagram messaging and you're an email type person, kind of weird, but if you are, reach out to us at lifewiththelisenbes@gmail.com. And yeah, I think that's it. See you guys later.